In the octagon, time stops when one punch, kick, or knee lands just right. That moment, the midair shock, the stunned crowd, the fall to the canvas, no replay can outdo the live intensity. Today, we're reliving 18 of the most unforgettable knockouts in UFC history, and trust me, each one is worthy of its highlight reel. From silencing legends to making underdogs immortal, these are the KO moments that shook the world. It began with Vitor Belfort versus Anderson Silva at UFC 126. Belfort, explosive and fearless, launched a fierce front kick that crashed through Silva's chin like a thunderbolt. Silva crumbled, and with one strike, the balance of the division flipped. It was unreal. Then came Renan Barão versus Brad Wineland at UFC 165. Barão threw a devastating spinning back kick, followed by a vicious left hand. Wineland dropped instantly. It was so sudden, it didn't even feel real. A KO straight out of a movie. Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz gave us a cinematic moment. Though not on your original list, it resonates with perfectly placed punches. In the fifth round, Leon stunned Diaz with a perfect combo, freezing the crowd. That shot launched him into title talks. Next, Rashad Evans versus Sean Salmon. This was pure violence. A brutal head kick sent Salmon stiff before he even hit the ground. His body went rigid mid-fall, the very definition of a highlight reel KO. BJ Penn versus Caol Uno at UFC 41 was raw. Penn landed a crisp right hand in the opening seconds. Uno fell back, eyes glazed, and the fight ended before most fans even sat down. That's how fast Penn's power was. Travis Browne versus Alistair Overeem showed us what happens when size meets precision. Browne absorbed punishment, then unleashed a front kick to the jaw that sent Overeem to the mat in absolute silence. A comeback KO for the ages. Then we had Rampage Jackson versus Wanderlei Silva 3. This wasn't just a fight, it was a war. Rampage's overhand right landed like a sledgehammer. Silva dropped like a stone. Years of rivalry ended in seconds. Rampage Jackson versus Mark Coleman. Classic Rampage. A powerful hook out of the clinch left Coleman crumpled. Jackson stood over him like a gladiator. Lyoto Machida versus Randy Couture gave us one of the most beautiful knockouts in UFC history. A karate-style front kick to the face. Couture's mouthpiece flew out. Machida bowed, art in motion. When Evans faced Chuck Liddell, few expected the overhand right that came from nowhere. Liddell, known for iron toughness, was left stiff as a board. The arena lost its mind. Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz was a legendary rivalry. In their clash, Liddell launched a looping right hook that Ortiz couldn't dodge. Lights out. Rivalry ended. KO sealed the deal. Rich Franklin versus Nate Quarry. A moment that still gives chills. Franklin stepped in with a clean left cross that sent Quarry crashing backwards. Matt Hughes versus Carlos Newton gave us one of the craziest moments ever. Newton had Hughes in a triangle choke. Hughes lifted him up, slammed him down, and knocked him out cold. At the same time, Hughes passed out. The finish, legendary. In Liddell versus Couture 2, Liddell showed why he was the Iceman. A brutal counter, right during Couture's shot attempt, flattened the champion. KO and title reclaimed. Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping 1 at UFC 100 gave us a KO so iconic, they put it on posters. A vicious H-bomb overhand right. Bisping fell, and Henderson delivered the flying hammer fist, just for good measure. Gabriel Gonzaga versus Mirko Cro Cop turned the tables. Cro Cop, the kick specialist, was knocked out by a head kick of his own. Cro Cop's leg twisted under him. It was one of the scariest KOs ever. Edson Barboza versus Terry Edom gave us a moment that belongs in a museum. A spinning wheel kick landed flush on Edom's jaw. He felt like a tree being cut down. Arms stiff, eyes closed. it's still one of the most replayed KOs in UFC history. Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva. One wasn't just an upset, it was a statement. Silva dropped his hands, taunted Weidman, and in return, took a devastating left hook. Down went the king, and just like that, the Silva era was over. Lastly, let's go full circle. Anderson Silva versus Vitor Belfort. UFC 126 again. Silva unleashed a perfect front kick to the chin. Belfort's eyes rolled back, and the champ stood tall. The silence after that kick was louder than any crowd. These are more than knockouts. These are moments etched into UFC history. They define fighters, they flip divisions, they end careers and begin legends. Some happened in seconds. Others came after minutes of tactical warfare, but all ended with that one strike that stopped everything. These are the greatest knockouts in UFC history, and they deserve to be remembered forever. If you've got a favorite KO that we didn't mention, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling MMA breakdowns right here on Nina Scoop. Because in the UFC, one shot can change everything.